Hi, everyone. Welcome to the March 26, 2024 full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Jessica Elliott, and I'm the vice chair of CB11. This meeting is called to order at 6:47 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Angel Muscane, Assistant District Manager Khalid Nixon, and a Community Associate Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members attending via Zoom can find the raise hand function button by first clicking the participants icon to access the panel where that button is located. If you have any technical issues, please relay your difficulty to the staff in the chat. The chat should not be used to discuss or pose questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and the topic of their comments. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda and is available physically outside of this room. Registration for the public session will close at 7:15. We will now take attendance. Board members, please answer present when your name is called.
Good evening, everyone. Rosa Diaz, your secretary. Please, if you hear your name, say present. I'm going to call you twice. Jose Altamirano. Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo. Stephanie Arroyo. April Autry. Thank you. Mark Bogurski. Thank you. Adem Brija. Thank you. Kareem Kauser. Devon Croncha. Thank you. Kenneth Crouch. Thank you. Carlos Diaz. Thank you. Rosa Diaz, myself. Jessica Elliott. Judith Febraro. Thank you. Brandon Gillespie. Brandon Gillespie. Okay. David Giordano. Thank you. John Green. John Green. Wanda Hopkins. Wanda Hopkins. Christina Johnson. Thank you. Jewel Jones. Thank you. Beverly McFarlane.
Present.
Thank you. Giselle Malave. Giselle Malave. Sage Mason. Thank you. Malik McCullough. Jennifer Mayer. Jennifer Mayer. Jessica Morris. Thank you. Nilsa Orama.
Present.
Thank you. Beverly Pabon. Right, of course. Claudia Perez. Claudia Perez. Okay. Nicolas Reyes. Nicolas Reyes. Asher Rodriguez. Thank you. Eugene Rodriguez is excused. Dawn Sanders. Dawn Sanders. Xavier Santiago. Xavier Santiago. Isaac Scott. Thank you. Vaso Schuller. Thank you. Loretta So. Thank you. Vincent Torres. Vincent Torres. Okay. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Okay. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Okay. Jason Villanueva. Jason Villanueva. Candy Vives Vasquez. Candy Vives Vasquez, not here. Michelle Wilshire Clemens, thank you. Jason Wu. Jason Wu. Jason Wu. Oh, Jason Villanueva. Pass back to the vice chair.
Seeing that a quorum is not present at this time, in an effort to obtain quorum, we will stand in recess for a period not to exceed 10 or 15. We'll do 15 minutes. The board secretary will keep the time. If a quorum is not present at the end of this recess, the meeting will be adjourned. Any outstanding business items will be considered at the next convening of this body. Thank you, everyone.
So Brandon Gillespie, thank you.
Evening, everyone. My apologies. I was next door at Union Settlement. PSA 5 is having their meeting, which typically aligns every single month with our full board. So I was able to pop over there. We will be having Mark Levine, our borough president, coming by. So we should be approaching quorum now. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on our website's meetings calendar. If there are no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. We'll now move on to our pre-registered speakers. Few ground rules for those wishing to speak. You must sign up to give testimony, providing your name and affiliation. You will be afforded 3 minutes to speak. 3, you should address your testimony to the board and not the public. 4, you should speak clearly and into the microphone. 5, you should be prepared to respond to board member questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members should only ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. And who has signed up? Ronaldo Gonzalez from Legal Aid, you are recognized. You can come on up. You may use this mic over here.
Yes. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight about our services. My name is Rolando Gonzalez, and I'm an attorney with the Legal Aid Society's Community Development Project. We're located on 125th Street in Adam Clayton, but we were in this neighborhood for a very long time and moved just a few years ago. So you may be familiar with some of the more, you may be familiar with some of our other projects, like we do criminal work, we do immigration work, housing, but I want to talk to you about some of the work that we do with small businesses. So with the Community Development Project, we provide free legal services to small businesses, nonprofits, and tenant associations seeking to purchase and maintain affordable housing. For our small businesses, we do everything from helping people choose the right legal structure. We help people with business owners start their businesses and register their businesses. We help with commercial leasing. We help with intellectual property issues, contracts reviews, reviewing loan documents. We help with employment issues such as clarifying whether someone's an independent contractor or not. We help existing businesses and small businesses with a lot of issues except for litigation. Now, for nonprofits, we help with forming the not-for-profit organization. We help with getting tax exemption, registering with the Attorney General's Charities Bureau. And then nonprofits also have the same issues, reviewing commercial leases, reviewing contracts, employment manuals, sort of a lot of the same issues. We also do a lot of community work, community education and legal clinics with community-based organizations. But what I'm really here to talk about is we're excited that we launched this month a virtual legal clinic. So there are two ways of reaching us. You can reach us, and I left the materials on regarding how to reach us by email and by calling us. But we also just launched a legal clinic this month where the third Wednesday of every month, you can speak to an attorney for 30 to 45 minutes. You can register. There are materials on the sign-up table that have how to register and how to become a part of the legal clinic. So that's another way that you can, small business owners can reach us and can get legal assistance.
Great. Thank you so much. Are there any? Your contact information.
So we can be reached at 212-298-3340 or communitydevproject@legal-aid.org. I can also be reached at 426-3054 or rrgonzalez@legal-aid.org.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jose Colon. Jose, you're recognized. You have 3 minutes. We'll come back. Taisha Smalls from We Act.
Good evening. My name is Taisha. Yeah. Okay. So just two announcements. One, April 20th, we're having Cecil Colbert Mark Street co-naming between Convent Avenue and 140th Street. I'm sorry, 140th Street Avenue in Hamilton Heights. Community Board to come. Well, remember Cecil. No, everybody knows that he has been a big member in East Harlem as well, all over. So we want you to come and celebrate with us. I'm sorry. Our membership meeting coming up April 13th, Saturday, April 13th. So we have our candidates forum. We're going to focus in East Harlem, Assembly District 68. So everyone that's registered on New York State Campaign Finance is been invited. The only person that has not been confirmed is our incumbent Eddie Gibbs. So please come out. Last part is for the community board. If you have any questions for us for the candidates forum, please send me. You're more than welcome to send us an email. My email is tyisha@weact.org. My telephone number is 646-983-7073.
Any questions? Yes, Jewel.
Yes, that's okay. The Cecil Corbin Mark Day is the Earth Day event. Yes, I have flyers in the front, but I the look West 143rd Street.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next, we have is Delia online? Delia, if you could unmute, you will have 3 minutes. Delia, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
You just
Hello, can you
unmute yourself. You can speak.
Okay, you can hear me? Hello?
We cannot hear you.
Oh. The microphone is unmuted on mine.
All right, now we hear you. Now we hear you. Welcome, Delia.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm,
you have 3
yeah,
minutes.
I, along with many of the community, are very concerned about the latest of, in the headlines, East Harlem, bravest versus Harlem's foulest addicts at the firehouse. Of the 59 districts in New York City, 12 are in Manhattan. How are we measured in terms of quality of life? It just seems that decisions are made with oversaturation of supportive services, and we're just continuously, it's drug addicts on the streets, it's negative headlines. Now it's impacting the firemen outside, outside where their cars are. I mean, what's going on? We're all disgusted as a community. How does the local leadership, what is the local leadership plan to do about it? It's more support to 2 Odyssey House facilities within blocks of each other. It's just oversaturation. I don't understand what is in the mindset of local leadership to level up, bring up the quality of life in East Harlem. Please, we're all so frustrated. We're all so frustrated, and we want to understand what the leadership is going to do about it. What's on the agenda to make East Harlem better, to clean it up.
Thank you, Delia. Any questions from our board members?
Yes, just that, why are we bringing more support to, now it's the 2 Odyssey House facilities within blocks of each other. You have On Point, they're impacting FDNY, defecating on their cars, shooting up between the cars. They can't do their job. I've met with Battalion Chief Burgess. He said they're here to serve the community, and we'll always do that. But it's getting harder for them to do their job. So my question to the board is, what do you? I mean, don't you feel bad? Aren't you embarrassed about the decisions made that bring down this neighborhood?
Delia, I appreciate you being here and participating in our publicly registered session. Board members, I'll open up if you have any questions for the comments.
So there is
Yes,
no
Don
plan.
Sanders. Don Sanders has a question for you, Delia.
So there is no plan then? Is there a plan to stop the oversaturation? That's what I want to ask.
Don, you had a question. Yep. So please come up, Don.
Hi, Miss Delia. Dawn Sanders, a board member, was thinking maybe you could come to our public safety transportation meeting so we could talk a little bit more with you. Just want to invite you to that.
I'd be happy to come. I'd be happy to come to any meeting. So far, I've gone to the DOT meeting with the Commissioner of Transportation. I've gone to a local community board meeting with the precinct. I'm in the face with Chief Battalion Burgess, mentioning I come from a family of firemen and police officers. And I had to meet with him to tell him how appalled we all are, and what can we do to help? What can we do?
So Delia, I would love for you to go to our Public Safety and Transportation Committee meeting. And in fact, this April, we're having the DA's office and Jordan Stockdale is the Chief of Staff with recommendations they'd like to see for changes up in Albany that will address some of these concerns. And I'm really glad that you're here to participate. Are there any other questions from board members? Yeah, Isaac. Yep. 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 And if you would also be welcome to bring some of your neighbors and come to Human Services Committee meeting in April too. We need to hear everyone's voice at the table and listen. And I appreciate you being here. This
That would
helps
be great,
guide.
Xavier. I have your card. We'll be in touch. So whatever meetings, and I'd like to bring folks from the community that want to, want to put their face in front of, put their face in front of people that are going to make change for the better here.
Your participation, as I've said, and because I'm going to move the meeting, I appreciate you being here. The more people participating in a democracy, the healthier it is. And I'm very glad that you're here. So we'll get you connected. I think I have your mobile here, and I appreciate your comments.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Xavier. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jose Colon. Going back to Jose Colon before I move the agenda along. He's not on. Okay. We will now move the meeting along, and we'll move to our elected officials. And if our current elected officials, it's the same rule, 3 minutes. But if other representatives don't, yes. Oh, you did? For publicly registered speakers or for an elected? Okay. Oh, that sheet was not shared with me. Thank you. Yes, we do have some. Okay, Raphael, come on up. You got your 3. Thank you.
Testing 1, 2. Very good. All right. First off, before I forget, I wanted to compliment Angel on the brochure, the CB11 brochure. This is my 12th community board meeting this year. I'll tell you why afterwards. But it's very unique, and it really gives prestige to the CB. Anyway, my name's Raphael. I was a civic leader in the Northeast Bronx for a long amount of time. And I'm embarking on a 5-borough comic book store tour. So by a show of hands, including you, Mr. Borough President, how many of us used to go to comic book stores when we were younger? Very good. That's easy. That's why Spider-Man is fun. So not many people know is there's actually a lot of comic book stores left. Through months of research, I made a list, which I have here, and it's also at the front table and in my hands. About 35 comic book stores in the 5 boroughs. Most of them are in Queens and Brooklyn, but Manhattan has at least 6. So starting when the warm weather comes, whenever Mother Nature decides, I'm going to be leading tours of group of people from not all the stores in one day, but we'll go from, let's say, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. We'll cover Manhattan. We'll go from Queens, take the Q50 to the Bronx, because a lot of these stores are at risk. Why? Because commercial stores really don't have rent protections. When the lease is up, these stores can be just thrown out on whim for no reason. When the lease is up, their rent can be raised by 50%. So it's very important for us for every individual to go to these stores and support them, spend some money, and discover new stores. And there's a lot of stores that I didn't know about. The oldest one in the 5 boroughs is in Brooklyn. It's from 1979. So it was 1979, which really isn't that old for a city as old as New York City. So again, I have these in my hand. If you would like to receive email updates about when the first event will be, my email is 5boroughRaph, RAPH, @gmail.com. And I'll be making my way around to the other community board meetings around the city. And I appreciate everything that the community board does. You're very important for improving the quality of life of people. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions?
The number 5, BORORAPH @gmail.com.
I have one question. Favorite character?
Favorite character? Well, so you brought it up. So I'm going to say this first before I say my favorite character. Doesn't he look like Ryan Reynolds? Deadpool, right? Okay. All right.
Add the salary.
Favorite character? I'm going to say, it may sound lame, but I'm going to kind of say Spider-Man, because he really doesn't have that many superpowers. And I like going to high places, like on a top of a park fence, 20 feet high, just to take a photograph and say, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. That's right. Then I'll climb down, but I won't jump down.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. With that, that concludes our publicly registered speakers, and we'll move along to our elected official report. And because we have, I'm going to go out of order if it pleases the board, since we have our borough president, Mark Levine. So Mark, welcome.
Good evening, Community Board 11, and hello to everyone who's online. Raphael, that was a great presentation, but the correct answer is Batman, just so you know. But if you want me to get obscure, I'm a big fan of Watchmen comics, if that even means anything to you. Look it up, look it up. I do need to start on a somber note because I'm just heartbroken by the death last night of police officer Jonathan Diller, who was killed in the line of duty in Queens. 31-year-old, leaves a wife behind, a 1-year-old child behind. It's really heartbreaking. This is the first death of a police officer in the line of duty since we lost 2 officers in Central Harlem just about 2 years ago, Officer Mora and Rivera. And we also had a tragedy not far from here last night on 125th Street in the subway, where a gentleman from the Bronx was pushed in an apparent random act and fatally struck by a number 5 train. The suspect has been apprehended. It's a young fellow, I think he's 24, appears to suffer with mental illness, has had a number of run-ins with the law so far. And as if that weren't enough, we had a individual struck fatally at Bryant Park this morning by a train. It has not been reported as a pushing, so we don't know the cause. And just as I was coming here tonight, there's a report of another fatal passenger being struck in Brooklyn. So that's 3 in just 24 hours. And it's just horrible to think that passengers are exposed to this kind of danger when they just want to get home at night or get to where they're going. And there's a lot that the city needs to do to deal with this. I have been fighting for platform screen doors, which most other cities in the world have. Not sure if you've seen these. These are like sort of sliding glass doors on the platform itself so that you can't fall or be pushed or trip or drop your cell phone when the train is not there. The doors open, obviously, when the train arrives. If you've been to the JFK Air train, then you've seen this because they have those screen doors in place. And therefore, no one's ever fallen on the tracks at the JFK Air train. But we've got to do more to deal with our mental health crisis. There are too many people in the subways everywhere in New York City that have untreated severe mental illness, schizophrenia, et cetera. I've been doing a lot of work on this, and I've discovered that hospital capacity is way too low for treating people with severe mental illness. For East Harlem, for Manhattan, Bellevue is the main provider. Their long-term psychiatric unit only has 19 beds. It is very difficult to get admitted for long-term psychiatric care. And that may be why we see so many individuals out in the street. So I want to work on that. We put out a plan in December. We call it Breaking the Cycle, where we identify something like a dozen different policies to deal with this kind of mental health crisis in CB11 and citywide. And I'd love it if, is mental health under the health committee? What committee deals with mental health? Human Services. Perfect. So, Mr. Chair, perhaps you all could look at this plan. We'll get it to you, and maybe you even be moved to pass a resolution. It would be great to have support from Community Board 11 if you deem it appropriate. So just as my time is almost up, but on somewhat lighter, more happier topics. We had 800 applications to community boards in Manhattan this year. Incredible turnout. And we just did a great round of interviews. I'm really excited about this. Thank you to everyone who is reapplying on Community Board 11. We have some openings. We're hoping to get you some great leaders there. We've had a couple of really great events in the last few weeks. We had over 700 people at my State of the Borough address a couple weeks ago, including a lot of people from CB11. Thank you. Last night, we had our Women's History Month event. We were celebrating women in the arts, and we have a show up at my office now down at 1 Center Street exhibiting 8 or 9 women artists from all over Manhattan. So we're celebrating Women's History Month. And finally, it is tax season. And at our district office on 125th Street, at our Northern Manhattan office, we're offering free tax assistance. So if you or anyone needs help applying or submitting your tax return so you can get your refund, or people in the community you know who need this help, we're providing it for free at our office. It's at 431 West 125th Street. Here with us tonight is our wonderful CB11 liaison, Porfirio Figueroa, so you can always connect to him. So thank you so much, CB11. It's great to be here. I don't know if you do questions for electeds or not, but if so, I'm
Yes,
happy
we
to
do.
take them if there's time.
If there are any questions, Mark and then Christina.
Great. Well, I agree to you that there needs to be equity in where these facilities are sited, and that there's an unequitable concentration in East Harlem. And I'm on the record for that, and we have to do more. The plan is really more borough-wide and citywide, doesn't concentrate on East Harlem, but I'm with you in this fight. We're in talks to some of the providers about possibly deconcentrating here. But I appreciate you bringing it up, and I appreciate your service on the Human Service Committee. Are you referring to the hybrid option and the? Okay, yes. Completely agree. Completely. Let me, in the interest of time, talk about this, because we're doing some serious work on this. We have 2 problems. One, the in-person quorum is too strict. That needs to be loosened, including for general meetings, by the way. Secondly, all this flexible open meeting law that allows for hybrid is about to expire on June 30th, right? So if that happens, then this hybrid option is no longer acceptable under the open meetings law. So we need legislation in Albany to reduce the quorum requirement and to indefinitely extend the hybrid option beyond June 30th. And we have 2 great champions for this. One is a Manhattan Assembly member, Alex Boris, from the East Side. He's fighting hard. Another is a great senator from the Bronx, Natalia Fernandez. They've got the bills. I spoke yesterday to the chair of the Senate committee, which oversees the open meetings law, James Skoufis. He's from upstate. So I'm all in on this. We're pushing very, very hard to get this done now. And I don't want it to linger until June 29th, because the board has to be able to plan long term. So I'm really trying to get this done in April, but it's going to be a fight. But we're all in on that. So I appreciate the question. All right, got it.
Thank you. And Mark, just to let you know, at Executive Committee, we took up that issue, and we'll be voting on it next month at Executive to support whether or not to support Alex Boris's bill. So Christina.
Hi, Christina. I'll repeat the question because I know it's hard to hear. So 2 questions. Do we have a flyer for the tax prep? We do. So we'll get them to you. Porfirio will get them to you. Secondly, is there an income requirement? Yes. It's free to people who make $82,000 a year or less.
Great.
I'm sure you make double that. So
If there are no other questions, Borough President, thank you for joining
thank you,
us.
everybody. Thanks, CB11.
Thank you.
I had my hand up.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Don't get off the hook so quickly. Beverly McFarland, who's in the ether. Yes. Go ahead, Beverly. Your
Good
question.
evening. Good
I'm Ms.
evening.
McFarland.
How are you? What is your stance on what you're going to do about gun violence gun violence? I'm
missed the-
sorry.
Okay, but did you say gun violence in East Harlem, Ms. McFarland, or just in general?
In Manhattan in general.
Oh, in Manhattan. Okay. We got to do better. I mean, the truth is that the numbers are moving in the right direction. Homicides and shootings are down so far in 2024 relative to 2023 by, I think, about 10%. That's not good enough. So let me put that out there. But it is important to acknowledge that despite some very horrific high-profile incidents, the numbers are moving in the right direction. We have to get the guns off the streets. Fights happen in societies, but when there's guns on the street, those fights very quickly escalate to be fatal. So we have to attack this at multiple levels. We have to start even out of New York State, because the guns killing people in East Harlem are not manufactured in New York City or New York State. They're mostly brought here from 3 or 4 states: Virginia, Georgia, Ohio, Florida. They've turned I-95 into what they call the Iron Highway. So we have to crack down on the commerce of guns being brought here. There are increasingly guns that are acquired either by online order or other means that are known as ghost guns, where people get parts and put them together. We've really got to crack down on that. We need to give young people positive alternatives so that they don't feel the need to pick up a gun in the first place. After school programs, summer jobs, job training. We need violence interrupters so that if they get wind of a conflict escalating, they can de-escalate before it turns violent. And we need to support the NYPD to get guns that are out there off the street. So that's a lot. I don't know if you'd like to add something, Ms. McFarland, but
Yes,
but
I do want to ask about bail reform in light of guns. If you saying getting guns off the street, but what's your stance on reforming the bail
well,
law?
any violent crime should be bail eligible, and I believe is bail eligible, including gun possession. That's a very serious charge. And it should be bail eligible. And I believe that there's been some rollbacks in the state bail laws to allow for that. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me, but I agree those should be bail eligible.
Thank you.
There is one
Thank
more
you.
question.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. McFarland.
Asher, and that'll conclude our questions.
Restore the funding, and the programs that stayed, their hours are being cut back, that they're not gonna be here Friday. Summer Rising doesn't run. So you're gonna have all these like 12, 13-year-olds running up in the street, or if they weren't accepted to SYP. But
I'll talk about the budget, which we are fighting on this, but is there one specific school you want to alert me or the team about? Or you can get back to us if you want. So, sorry, what school? We're fighting to get this restored in the budget. Budget's going to be passed in June.
Okay.
Okay, so, sir, my team will connect you before we leave tonight, and we'll see if we can help on your case. We also are trying to make sure that the budget that the city passes in June has very strong funding for DYCD programs and after-school programs. But did you, Asha, did you have another question?
No. All right.
Well,
So-
we'll have to talk to your council member, sir, because that's not out of my office, but I hear you on the need.
So
I
Dave,
think the young man had another question.
go.
But I thought somewhere that most of the budget cuts were canceled, but that, like David said, there's still stuff missing. So
It might be particular to not the city's overall DYCD budget, but a discretionary grant from the council member.
program that they're using.
It would be helpful. Thank you, Ash. I'm gonna move us along because we have a pretty packed agenda. I'd like for you, if you could take a couple of moments to speak with David Giordano and Asher. That would be greatly appreciated. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
President.
CB11.
All right, next up, we have Maggie McDermott from Deputy Speaker Ayala's office. Perfect segue. Yeah, the mic helps go into the feed for people on Zoom.
Good evening, everybody. I didn't realize about the mic. Thank you for letting me know. My name is Maggie McDermott. I'm the Director of Special Projects for Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala. She is the District 8 City Council member. It is a pleasure here in person. We are usually remote, so I'm really happy to be here. I guess I'll start off with the most difficult was we had a horrible violence weekend this weekend. Deputy Speaker Ayala wanted me to speak about public safety. Sadly, we had an absolutely horrible weekend due to senseless violence once again. Within a 24-hour period, 3 individuals lost their lives. Needless to say, we are aware of the 120 train homicide and the double homicide on 127th Street. She is working closely with constituents and tenant association presidents to offer help and support. In regard to the article that was recently published in regard to the fire station, the happenings that are taking place outside the 124th Street fire station, unfortunately, that was not brought to our attention. Without knowledge, we can't address the issues. We will work hard to address the issues that are taking there in regards to substance use and other issues that go along with substance use and mental health disorders. So we will work with entities that are charged with servicing those populations in efforts to, make a significant impact in addressing that situation. I wanted to mention that recently Deputy Speaker Ayala invited Ed Pinkar, who is the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, to do a site visit along Lexington and Park Avenues. They discussed potential art installations, street modernizations, and bus lane access. Deputy Speaker Ayala has been working tirelessly while in committee hearings and budget negotiations. As everyone in this room knows, it is now budget season. She sits on 7 committees, including public safety and finance, and is the chair of the General Welfare Committee. As a member of both the leadership and budget negotiation teams, she's now in a sprint to meet the city budget deadline, which is June 30th.
If you could just wrap up really quickly.
I also wanted to say that we have literature that was left in the back We have her most recent newsletter, which looks like this. It is at the back table. We also have a tax event that takes place every Friday, with the exception of this Friday, because it is Good Holy Friday. So this Friday, the office will be closed. Every Friday until April 12th, she's having a tax preparers on site. This event is in collaboration with Robin Hood and the New York City Consumer and Worker Protection Agency. Every Friday from 9 to 5, they are on site in our office, 5 East 116th Street, from 9 to 5, preparing taxes, and this is a free service.
Thank you.
In addition, we have NYCHA clinics once a month. They are also on site at our office. They're the first Tuesday of every month. We have various clinics. I'm not going to speak of all of them, but we also offer constituent services in English and Spanish. They are also on site. We have 4 different clinics. One is in collaboration with the mayor's office. They are listed on our constituent service form, which is in English and Spanish, and it is also on the back table outside the room.
Thank you. Any
Thank you.
questions for Maggie?
Thank you all. Oh,
Jason Villanueva. Yeah, if you could, and to give you clarity, for example, and after consulting with Councilmember Brewer, there are approximately 2,000 individuals, but most of them are families versus the HERC. We have over just about 3,000, if not a little over, and most of them are single adult males, and then some females, but the majority. So we're trying to get an analysis and feedback from the appropriate agency. So we'll appreciate your cooperation. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Meg. Appreciate having you in person. Next up, we have Oriana Rivera from Senator Serrano's office. Is she online? Okay, you have your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, hi. Good evening. How are you? It's a pleasure to be here. As you said, my name is Oriana Rivera. I'm the new representative for the Senator Serrano, since Sophie is no longer working with us at the office. So I will be in filling her position over here. It's really a pleasure to get to know you guys, and I'm happy to hear from you. As you know, hold on one second. I would like to share that today, the Senator chaired a meeting of the Senate Committee on Cultural Affairs, Tourism, Parks and Recreation. Among the legislation passed was a bill to create arts and cultural districts, and a bill to strengthen the reporting requirements for parkland alienation. So just, glad to be here. I will look forward to get to know you, as I said. Thank you so much for having us, and we're here for you. We're always supporting you guys. Thank you.
Great. Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much, and for joining us here at CB11. Next up, we're going to have Courtney Bennett from the DA's office, if you're prepared. To give you 3 minutes.
Good evening. I know it's a long night. Good evening. All right, that's a little more energy. District Attorney Bragg, very busy. We've heard a lot of the concerns around gun violence. As the borough president reported, gun violence over the last 2 years is dropping actually dramatically, but every life we lose is always a shock to the system. So we're down about 40% over the last year in homicides and in shots fired, but we're up in prosecutions. So we're doing the work. We always thank the NYPD, who are our partners on that work, but we're doing work on both ends. We're also doing work in prevention. We're doing work with young people. We mentioned middle schools and funding being closed. We're looking at how we can provide some funding for some middle school boys, particularly to build some programming to help build their character so that they never think about picking up a gun, or if they come to that decision, they have the skills required to make the right decision. So we're not just sitting back and waiting for people to do something wrong so we can arrest them, but we're being proactive to help avoid these kinds of occurrences. In addition, we have funded $9 million for mental health interventions. $3 million has gone to our Court Navigators program, partnering with the Fortune Society, who meet with people in the court when they are being arraigned and they have to come back and they don't have services. We make sure that they have services so they are ready to come back, they don't get a warrant, et cetera. We're working with retail theft so people don't recidivate. We put $6 million, we put $6 million into the bridge program, who are now acting as street navigators for mental health. So they're on 125th Street from Lexington over to 5th, and they are working with the homeless populations there, meeting them where they are, trying to get them housed and provide them services. So that's 40 seconds left for any questions you might have.
Any questions? Yes, Michael.
No, we have not discontinued gun buybacks. We have not discontinued the gun buyback program. No. It depends on the program. They've gotten gift cards for $200, $100. It depends.
Yeah.
Gift cards can be in different forms. Sometimes they're just gift cards that are American Express or some other kind of gift card where it turns into funds. We have a ghost gun investigation ring that is working to undermine the creation of ghost guns. That's one of our highest priorities.
Okay.
So if we give a kid money, he can go out and buy another gun with the money. We understand it, and it's been studied over the years that it's a helpful initiative.
Yep. I think he's talking about diminishing returns then. We have one question from one of our online board members,
Yes.
Beverly McFarland.
Good evening. How are you?
Good
I have
evening, Beverly.
I have a question. Will the DA's office be willing to come to the resident council meetings in order to talk about some of these services that you guys are providing?
Great question. We are planning to have a meeting with all the TA presidents. Our community engagement coordinator, Sharima Harvell, has been trying to coordinate with all of the TA presidents in Manhattan North so we can have a meeting where the DA can address them all. We've already addressed Manhattan South, and now we want to address Manhattan North. We expect to have that meeting before the end of June.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney.
And I want to thank you, Xavier, for helping us focus on specific data for East Harlem and understanding how we have to do work in discovery in other areas. And we look forward to your continued partnership.
Thank you very much. It's all about bringing balance. Thank you. Next up, Okay, we'll now move on. We have Tamika Mapp, one of our district leaders, and then next is William Smith. So Tamika, you have your three.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Just a final reminder, if you haven't signed your kids up for the Easter Bingo this Saturday, please go to ehcfgg.info to sign up your kids. In April, we have our child loss support group. Make sure if you have a family member or somebody in the community that lost a child and want to be in community with other family members that lost a child, go to ehcfgg.info. That will be taking place on Saturday, April 13th, from 11:30 to 12:30. Is a very safe space for us to come together. On April 15th, we're going to be doing virtual bingo. Make sure you come with virtual bingo. We're going to have a 50-50 raffle of that as well. Make sure you go to the website to sign our petition to make sure that we get a ferry stop in our community. That is ongoing as well. On April 1st, I will be joining some of our elected officials, talk about taxing the rich and making sure that the funding gets into our community and be used in our community as well. My phone number is 347-523-4410. The website, ehcfgg.info. As always, I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Thank you. Any questions? Seeing as there are none, thank you very much for being with us, Tamika. Next up is William Smith. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, Community Board 11. How are you? Oh, no energy. Everybody's tired, huh? I'll keep it short. Okay, so I have a big focus on making sure we diversify the type of resources and information that we bring to the community. We've had a 3-part series. We have the 3rd part of our series on financial education. There's a lot of issues in our community about finances right now, right? We've been dealing with inflation, cost of living continues to go up, the cost of our rent continues to go up. So we need to start thinking about how we can find other ways to supplement our incomes, right? And think about building for our families' futures. So we're having a session in partnership with Edward Jones. It's a financial services company at Lakeview Apartments at 1250 Fifth Avenue on Tuesday, April 9th. The name of the session is Strengthen Your Stock Savvy. And in terms of understanding your long-term financial goals, understanding the difference from common and preferred stock, and just having a better understanding of how you can find opportunities and investment opportunities in the capital markets, specifically in the stock market. So please make sure you stop by. It'll be at 6:30 on April 9th at Lakeview. So I hope some of you can come out, and I'll make sure I send it to the community board. Hope you can blast that out, because it's really important everybody think about their financial futures and ways to grow their finances. Given all of the recent violence in the community and the fact that for those that recognize, this is a Holy Week, we all thought that it's prudent that we come together and have a prayer vigil for all of the recent violence and deaths that we've had in East Harlem as of late. So there'll be a prayer vigil on 125th Street and Lexington Avenue tomorrow at 6 p.m., rain or shine, because it's important given the fact that we have all these issues. We have to come together as a community, and regardless of your spiritual faith or your religion, it's important that we come together and put together our positivity so that way our community can think positively. And we also want to remember those that have fallen as of late. It's really important. So please make sure you come out 125th Street and Lexington Avenue. We will be out there with candles and have a moment of silence for those that have fallen. Because given all of these challenges, it's as if we need to really come together with our faith, regardless of what your religion may be. Also, everybody, please make sure that you either vote early for the presidential primary. I'm not sure if that was announced yet, but please, if you haven't voted early, please think about doing that. If not, the presidential primary is on Tuesday, this upcoming next Tuesday, April 2nd. So please make sure you vote. It is imperative that you vote regardless of the outcome of regardless of your opinion of the candidate on the ballot or your personal opinions. It is absolutely imperative that we exercise our right to vote, and make sure you vote
Thank you.
early, because that's how we're able to get the polling sites to continue to be open, and we're able to get more of our community members to participate
Thank you, Will.
in the electoral process. Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
have a good day.
Yes, Nina, a question.
It's a prayer vigil.
It's a prayer, the actual,
Hold on, I can answer it.
well, you have the address is actually 128th Street in
No,
Lexington.
no.
The flyer.
Hold on. Announce it. One who spearheaded it in conjunction with Keoka Jackson and James Ratty. The prayer vigil is tomorrow at 6 p.m. at 125th Street and Lexington Avenue. So we hope that you can be there. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone, we'll post on the website when the prayer vigil is going to be. Have the flyer here. Thank you. Moving along now, we will move into our business session for those that's your first meeting here. This is where the board members do their work. So this will be questions amongst the board members. Before we start, we're going to hold a moment of silence for those, unfortunately, on Palm Sunday with the death of the two young individuals that happened over on 128th Street and Lexington Avenue near AK Houses, and then another individual who was shot by the entrance to the 456 on 125th and Lexington. It was also reported directly to me, and I'm going to say thank you to Sage, who contacted me that yesterday we also, in addition to the subway death, had shootings going on in the district. So it's, again, we're having an uptick of violence. We need to cherish our life. So I'll hold a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. The minutes from last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there are no objections, we will adopt the minutes from the meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Yes, Sage. In the bylaws, it is notated in your committee minutes and in the full board, whether you are excused or absent. And an excusal is notated, the particular items that are qualified for excusal are notated in the bylaws: death, birth, military service, illness, caring for someone who's ill. In that sense, and that's how it's qualified. And I didn't get to fully read your email because I've been chock-a-block the entire day through. But we do value your input. So that's how it is recorded. And if we could have a moment, Angel, we can examine that, but everything else in the minutes, I can lay that section, but we will have to come back and ratify that because I have not had an opportunity to review what you wanted to opine on. So outstanding that, but yes, regardless of excused or absent, it's still not present at the meeting. That's where it is. So unless you've been assigned by the chair to do board business, that's when it wouldn't be counted. It'd be like you're counted at your committee or at a full board item. So that's how that's done. But we will lay that portion on the table. And if there are no objections, we could give the executive committee time to review that. And then we can adopt that portion just to make sure we're clear. Okay. So there are no other objections. Okay. We will revisit just this section just to have an internal analysis, and then we'll bring that section up next month. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the chair's reports. I'll try to keep it brief so we can get out of here on time. Happy Women's History Month. So could we get a little round of applause for our ladies? Yeah, come on. I had posted, and for those that are on social media, my grandmother turns 99 this year, helped raise on April, and she helped raise my dad as a single mom. And we have so many powerful women that help usher us forward into this world. And I just want to say, take a moment when you walk around the neighborhood. Eva de Loel Way at 102nd and 5th, Cicely Tyson Way, 101st Street and Lexington Avenue. They're just one of many that we have as examples uplifting our community and the shoulders of greatness we stand on and carry on in their name. So I just want to call that out. Most of this is information purposes only. Like I said, I was at PSA 5. I've literally gone and made contact with over 1,000 people in the past couple of months, listening to what they want to see changed, a lot of the issues which we've heard expressed tonight. It's not easy to walk into those spaces and have your ear turned up 6 ways from Sunday. And people, they feel like they're not being heard, not being listened to. And I want to welcome any of the new members of the public that are here attending, whether virtually or here in person. We need your input. If you're not showing up at our committee meetings, we're effectively working in a silo, an echo chamber, which is why I'm walking out there talking to as many people as possible. So I ask you and our 41 current board members to do the same. Even if it's just in your surrounding blocks, you are community leaders in your own right. Get to know everyone. That's how we knit together a closer community. So when things pop off or things happen in the community, we can communicate effectively and clearly. Some of the other items I've attended, tons of different tenant association meetings. I was at Jackie Robinson, seeing Bertie Glenn. And if you ever see her, give her a hug. She's one of the longer serving tenant association presidents. A lot of issues they're facing are very similar as to what we heard at PSA 5, which are public safety, people in the stairwells, sometimes using substances, or sometimes it's homeless. Franklin Plaza also is having public safety issues when it comes to deliveristas coming in and other people gaining access and testing all the doors. A lot of the seniors are scared. They don't want to open their doors. And in fact, I had to get walked around by a couple of building captains to listen to what they have to say. One of our former members on human services or seniors, Wendy Ferreira, she actually spoke to me over at Franklin and said, these are some of the concerns they have. And she would not have opened up if it wasn't for my voice that she recognized. So hold on, I'll get to your question in just a moment. Other issues we're dealing with, again, some of you will be noted in our vice chair's report, but I do want to say, give a little round of applause for Tricia Shimamura. She is no longer at the BP's office. She's moved over to Parks. So yay, a little round of applause. She's done great work. She does want to come and visit us. And don't worry, Richard Toussaint was the first thing I said to her, point blank. Also going over to Normandy Court, other places where they had the lawsuit and the settlement for affordable housing. Not everyone was captured in that settlement, and they're fighting to get inclusion of some of the other residents. These are some of the advocacy that we have to engage in. And I want to give a little shout out to any of our members who've joined along for events. But this past Saturday, Jessica Morris, Mark Rogarski, thanks for coming along to the Julia de Burgos Legislative Breakfast to hear a little bit more about the history, the updates of what's going on with EDC. The rest of it is in my report. But again, we have to stay stuck in. Any questions? Yes, Sage. They referred, now again, I'm just the messenger of what they told me. So they refer to them as deliveristas. So people who are delivering, getting access, buzzing to get in, and then they would go through. I am not going to denigrate any of them, say that's exactly it, because I haven't seen camera footage, but their security did confirm people are getting access. They don't know who exactly they are because they're usually dressed in black, don't necessarily have a vest on, some do. But again, I've asked for more details, which again, attending the Franklin TA meeting, I've asked for more information. So I can't say, but that's what they refer to them as. That's not my terminology, so I'm just sharing. Thank you. All right, no other questions? Thank you. Our district manager's report. Angel?
Hello. It's your favorite part of the meeting, folks. The reluctant speaker. Just two quick things. And I taking every opportunity to remind folks. On March 7th, the city council voted to approve the land use application for the Timbala Terrace project. A project that, there was a lot of noise about over, the summer of this last year. But, it's through council, it's been approved. And I think the board should be very proud of 340 units of affordable housing for our that'll probably be the last time I say it. But We also saw a presentation this month at Land Use, the second publicly owned property to be developed as 100% affordable as a result of the 2017 rezoning and the points of agreement, which is the Beacon, which will erect a tower behind the East Harlem Multi-Service Center on 120th Street, and will redevelop the multi-service center into a state-of-the-art brand new multi-service center to continue serving the community into the future. That's a very important site and grouping of services for the community for a very long time, and it's, I think, wonderful that that'll continue to be something on offer to the community. And then secondly, or thirdly, I had the opportunity last week to meet with representatives from an organization called Project Find. They do housing for seniors, and they've been looking at a property on 123rd Street that they finally reached an agreement with the property owner on. It's adjacent to a publicly owned property that they're seeking to engage the city on, creating an assemblage to develop, again, 100% affordable housing for seniors to be financed through HPD's Senior Affordable Rental Apartments Program, SARA. I put a link to the program so you can familiarize yourselves with the terms of that program, that term sheet in my report. And then the last thing is when I try to always say this, and I don't mean to come off grouchy, but I know sometimes I do. Some of the work that gets done by the board is difficult. Some of it takes time. Much of it is incremental, but there are a lot of positives that happen. They don't happen when everybody's making the most noise. It might happen a year later, a couple of years later. The board is responsive. It's very common in this setting, sitting here to hear incoming from the public. It's the gig. But folks that are bringing their concerns, I think, need to be reminded all the time that they're being heard, that their thoughts are being considered, and that the board is seeking to try to do the best that it can to address the issues that they're raising. The board does not have the power to snap its fingers and fix everything, unfortunately, though it may want to. It has to work incrementally. It has to seek partnerships. It has to be patient. One thing that's on the agenda later this evening is a recommendation from the Human Services Committee regarding a proposal from a local service provider, from a service provider that operates in the district. And the position is literally what people in the community were asking for, like the letter. People were addressing their concerns about the saturation of drug treatment services within the district. And their call was, well, serve people where they are. And in one example, where they are was Wards Island. So the recommendation you're going to be hearing about later is literally about providing services on Wards Island. And Little Bird told me that there's some incoming, clearly from someone, not the Little Bird, but the person that brought the concerns to the Little Bird, someone that had not read the position, right? Like, we're literally doing verbatim what you asked, right? So I think, not that you need me to defend you, but I do it anyway because I have the mic, that your work should be defended. And when it's good, there should be a spotlight on it, because those same people that are bringing the complaints need to know that it's not a waste of their time to come and speak to us, right? It doesn't happen right away always, but it does happen. And when it happens, they need to hear it so that they'll continue coming whenever anything else arises, or just to entertain themselves. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have our officers' reports, and we have Vice Chair's report. Scully.
Hi, everyone. I've gotten into a sort of 3-month version of the Vice Chair report, so I appreciate you for your patience in me giving this report. Just a quick update, as I'm sure you've heard me say, and there's a lot of people in this room who've been putting a lot of effort towards the third annual East Harlem Earth Day Conference coming up on April 19th to be held at the Museum of the City of New York. This is a collaboration between our Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee and our Youth and Education Committee. So thank you so much to the whole team meeting on a weekly basis to help move this forward. It's a real big lift and just grateful to you all. I hope that I will see you all there. We will be focusing only on community collaboration instead of having sort of a talking heads, auditorium experience. We're going to have a lot of children there from our schools in the neighborhood. So we're asking that our community partners and city agency partners provide interactive programming and booths so that we can continue conversation with each other about all of the things relating to Earth Day and environmental justice in our neighborhood. On an ongoing basis, I've been participating in the community partners and residents workshop sessions as part of the Center for Smart Streetscapes program with Columbia University. All that to say that there are paid summer opportunities available for students and teachers. Please email me directly so I can give you the information so that you can apply as soon as possible. The deadline has already passed, but they want children and teachers in East Harlem and Central Harlem to apply to these opportunities that are paid opportunities. Please email me at vicechair@cb11m.org and I will pass along those flyers to you directly. Just a quick note, I wanted to thank the Independent Budget Office for their work. We had requested that they do some research for us as it relates to sanitation garages and spending across the city. It was determined that our temporary garage was $35 million compared to, any range from 259 to $646 million for garages in other parts of the city. They noted that one of the most important things they noted was that the dual district sanitation garage that was pledged in the 2017 East Harlem Points of Agreement was designated as a policy pledge, which does not entail a capital or expense pledge. So due to the fact that there wasn't a specific dollar amount allocated or stipulated to that item, in addition to there not being an identification of a suitable site, there's really no recourse that they have given us to sort of, hold that commitment as it is. So we are discussing Angel, Xavier, George Janes, the Land Use Committee about what to do, moving forward. But just wanted to give you all that update, and we'll make sure to circulate that report to the full board. The last item was just that Peter Minuet Playground is funded through the Community Parts Initiative. I think I said that already, but that's all I have for my report. Thank you. Any questions?
Jewel?
No. Yeah, so they said it's an important, the way they framed it was an important distinction between a policy pledge and a capital or the other expense pledge, capital or expense pledge. So they did note that, a great number of our commitments have been fulfilled, but it doesn't help us for the sanitation garage that this is a policy pledge instead of a capital or expense budget pledge.
Great. Thank you. With that, we do not have our treasurer here at the moment. Is there a secretary report, or you'll save that? Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Basically, all of you know what I have been doing every single week, making beautiful flyers and sending all the notifications to all of you. Hopefully you appreciate it. So I have specific dates. March 11th, reminded the Human Services Committee members to come in person to the meeting. March 12th, reminded the Youth and Education Committee, myself included, to attend in person to our meeting. March 13th, reminded the Land Use Committee members to attend their meeting. March 14th, reminded Public Safety Committee members to attend in person to the meeting. March 19th, reminded Economic Development Committee to attend in person to their meeting. I've also had the opportunity to speak to a couple of members with regards to their attendance, and hopefully it improves. And tonight, also I reminded everyone, if you didn't receive my notification today, please let me know. That's it. Thank you.
Many mics. All right, thank you. With that concludes our officers' reports. We'll now move on to our business session. This is where we have our committee reports and resolutions. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. 1, no one may speak until granted the floor. 2, board members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. The chat should not be used for business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record when recognized. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. 3 votes will be conducted by acclamation and when necessary, a roll call. With that, we will begin with we did not have a housing committee. They did not have quorum. We'll now move on to licenses and permits. Both Adem and Judith cannot be here, so I'm going to read into the record the items that were brought before the committee. We had number 1, El Nuevo Caribeño, doing business as El Nuevo Caribeño Restaurant. It's a renewal application, number 1308794, and the committee recommended the application be approved. Number 2, El Barrio Family Day Health Fair Festival, number 756189. The committee recommended that this application be approved. I want to give a little shout out to Martina Garcia and all the businesses on that. Hold on, Jason, I'll come right to you. Let me just finish this thought. Who came together to find a compromise. I want to applaud that work and building community. Yes, Jason, you had a question? Oh. Number 3, HHFM East Harlem Market, number 759237. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Number 4, HHFM Metropolitan Market, number 759244. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Number 5, Salsa El Barrio Multicultural Event, number 761501. The committee recommends this application be approved. Number 6, Carnaval del Barrio, number 752613. Committee recommends that this application be approved. Number 7, Community Appreciation Day, number 762600. The committee recommends this application be approved. And number 8, Mexico Vive, number 762814. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Are there any questions? Jason, you want? Okay, motion approved by Carlos Diaz, seconded by Jason Villanueva. All those in favor? All right. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. With that, we'll move on. Open space and parks.
Again, we have no action items for environment, open space and parks today. But I will give you a couple highlights from our meeting minutes, which are for your review. Just a quick note that lead kit requests are available from the Department of Environmental Protection. Anyone who is concerned that they might have old plumbing lines. This has nothing to do with New York City water in general, but if you have older plumbing lines that may have lead piping, you can request a kit. The link is in my meeting minutes. I can, or you can reach out to me at vicechair@cb11m.org. Debbie Quinones from Harlem Art Park has an event coming up on March 28th for Women's History Month. So we hope to see you there, 1 to 4 p.m. at Harlem Art Park. East Harlem, we had 2 presentations and discussions. The first one was from Civitas, our partners in the neighborhood, looking out for our East River Esplanade waterfront. They had presented a number of design opportunities that they think can go above and beyond the EDC and parks projects that are underway currently. They would need to be phased and funded separately, but speak to a lot of the same concerns and questions that the Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee has been asking for a while. And they're looking to gather support for $225 million for that effort, which we'll be voting on at our next meeting. We also had an update on the Champlain Hudson Power Express project, which is located on Randall's Island. It's a large-scale clean hydropower energy project that crosses through Randall's Island. It's going to be mostly below ground, but you'll see that work is starting on Randall's Island currently, and will be going on for quite some time. Lastly, I think we'll leave it there. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jess. Next up, we have Human Services. Isaac? Oh. Go on, Don. What's it? April 19th. Yeah. You pass this along. Michelle?
For the testing of the water.
Yep.
If we need fast turnaround.
Good evening, everybody. So I'll do the action. We had 3 presentations, one presentation from Housing Works program, and came to present to reacclimate folks with the Connect program, as well as let us know about a relocation of the Bailey House's main campus, which is relocating to 125th Street. We had another presentation from Little Sisters of Assumption, Family Health Services. And this organization is in East Harlem. It services East Harlem with a lot of different types of public health programs and services. They literally told us they do everything but divorce. So they really do everything there. They literally said that though. Yeah, so they came and gave a presentation. One of the things that you will see is an agenda full of new organizations or organizations who are coming back to give us updates. And the reason for that is because I like to keep all of us, it's all of us. We like to keep the agenda with information so folks know what organizations are out there. So please, that'll take me into my invite later. I'll be quiet. The third presentation was from Odyssey House. Thank you, Andrew, for giving a slight preface. It's difficult, really honestly, to hear folks share their concerns and not be active in the work of the Human Services Committee, because that's where we are doing the work to the extent that it overlaps with social services and folks concerned about an oversaturation of social services, which we don't have. You know, addiction services and social services are different. They are under addiction services does fall under social services, but social services, there are so many, many more. And this community needs a lot of social services. So I think coming to the Human Services Committee would really help folks to put a lot of the health services needs and the human services needs into proper perspective. But I'm going off again. So Odyssey House came and they needed a letter of acknowledgement that they were coming before us to let us know about the integrated outpatient clinic that will be available on Wards Island for residents in Odyssey House. So they are one of our community organizations that are doing their best to make accommodations to all of the concerns that they continue to hear. Before they were going to propose this same site to be near their site in East Harlem, and now they wanted to be on Randall's Island, Wards Island, excuse me. So I think that's even more of them, trying to accommodate what they're hearing. And even with that accommodation, I think is what we asked for, but they're still very, very concerned. They are very mindful. They understand the concerns of the community, and anybody or any organization that comes before the Human Services Committee definitely understands the concerns of the community, because we ensure that we let them know what that is, and we ensure that, they come correct. That's one thing that we've been doing. So definitely Odyssey House motion, there was a motion to write a letter of acknowledgement to establish an integrated outpatient clinic for clients living in Odyssey House facilities in East Harlem. The motion was made by Mark Bogursky and it was seconded by Robin, and it passed unanimously. So that was the only action item we had.
Any questions? So there's a motion made by Mark Burke. Yes. Okay. Is there a motion to approve to provide a letter of acknowledgement for Odyssey's House's proposal to establish an integrated outpatient clinic for clients living in its facilities in East Harlem? Jason? Is there a second? What? Sage, a second. I'll give that to Sage. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm going to abstain from this one. The motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. So again, the next meeting for the Human Services Committee is on Monday, April 8th. And again, please bring your concerns to the Human Services Committee. A lot of the concerns overlap between the Public Safety Committee and the Human Services Committee. So please visit both of those committees. And I'm sure that between those two, you can get a better understanding of what East Harlem and CB11 is actually about the concerns.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Isaac. Next up, we have youth and education.
All right, good evening, everyone. So, last month we had- is it going through? Okay, all right. So we have one motion on the table for this month, which is a motion by Isaac Scott to approve the resolution in supporting sustaining key education programs, funding with expiring federal COVID-19 relief. The motion was seconded by Rosa Diaz, and I'm pretty sure that says passed unanimously. Okay. Also, I think if you could go rewatch the meeting, that presentation was very good because it gave a very detailed breakdown of the programs that are funded currently by the expiring COVID-19 relief and how they're going to be getting cut. Like, I was shocked to see like 3K on there. So I think it's very important that we do pass this. We also had a discussion about how we could help newer members before the new cycle of budgets goes around. So that way we can have a conversation and teach newer members how the budget process works, maybe like a mentoring program. We're going to be discussing that more every month and developing that. So.
Great. Thank you very much. And there was a motion made by Isaac Scott to adopt the resolution in support of sustaining key education programs funded with expiring federal COVID-19 relief. Motion was seconded by Rosa Diaz and approved unanimously. Is there a motion to approve the committee's recommendation? Jason Villanueva? Okay, second. Isaac Scott seconds. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Land use, landmarks, and planning. Jason Villanueva.
Good evening, family. Jason. Just to give you some presentation updates, our land use consultant extraordinaire, Mr. George James, did a presentation, heads up to housing advocates. Apparently, legislation came into play and they are changing the community preference for housing, right? So if you would like, we have some information on that, but I have already flagged it to the housing chair. And it's a concern for this district, as those of you know, because we're always concerned about gentrification and or our vulnerable populations having the opportunity to be a part of some of these developments. Second presentation was from the Beacon Project, the HRA Multi-Service Center. It was an update. One of the initiatives that I was able to perform with the committee as chair is a pre-ULUP process to kind of get us proactive in these ULUPs, which has been great with the public sector developers. We're hoping as time progresses that it starts to affect the private. But for that being said, this is one of these projects that went out, as Angel has expressed, through the hard work of this board with our points of agreement during the rezoning. And this is one of those projects that are coming to fruition so many moons later. So I implore you, please get involved. Let's have conversations. So that in that way we can edify and educate our constituents. Final item, which you heard that I brought up from what was expressed with preservation about the bank. And unfortunately, the project is already underway. So there has been some concerns that have been brought up from a group in particular. I haven't heard anything from any other constituents, but this is an open forum. If those have any concerns, you can always email me at the land use email address and or the board, and we'll continue to collect data from the conversations I had with the council member. It's understood that, there is an interest in preservation, but there's also a major concern with the quality of life on Lexington and between Park Avenue on 125th Street. So the hope is that these projects will bring to fruition some light of quality of life, provide some housing. But those of you that are well aware of community activism and advocacy, we need to be a part of those conversations all the way through. So brings me to our item, which is from the museum. It's a landmarks preservation item where they pretty much just asked for a letter of support for some of the work that they need to do as it relates to their skylights. We reviewed the project. We understand that the developer, which is also the presenter and builder, came to the table, advised us that this is a project of their interest. The committee reviewed it, approved it unanimously. Thank you.
Any questions? So there was a motion by Adem Briha to support the Metropolitan Museums of Art application to the Landmarks Preservation Commission. The motion was seconded by Candy Vivas Vasquez and passed unanimously. Yes, Isaac. A motion by Isaac Scott to support the committee's recommendation, seconded by Carlos Diaz. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Next will be public safety. Jose?
Have you back. All right. Good evening, everyone. Most of it is for informational purposes. We had a very long and extensive explanation on the Park Avenue Viaduct. The construction will start, well, it already started, as most of you know. They already laid the underground pillars. However, the superstructure is now going to be replaced. And by I mean the superstructure is the entire top part. The tracks will be removed. The ceilings on some of the buildings, such as La Marqueta. Marqueta will be moved down to 105th Street temporarily. They will be working north to south. And as they pass 116th Street and complete it, then they'll move back and they'll finish the process. This is be very extensive. They will be working weekends. There will be some traffic changes, the cranes that they're building are impressive to say the least. We can send you the full presentation. They gave it to us. So far they've been very transparent. And obviously the amount of people that go through the Metro North is extensive. So that's why it's on the weekends, because weekdays they can't close down for construction. What we're doing now that the weather's getting a little nicer, what we did last year is we went with DOT. While Lyle was still with us, and we went through the major intersections, 96, 106, 116, 125th, 135th. We even went up to the Rivertons because, well, Diana's not here anymore, but she always complains that we never go up to the Rivertons, which was not the case. What we did with these major intersections is we checked countdown lights. We checked that the accessible ramps were in good condition. We found a pothole that was about 4 feet deep, which had DOT on the phone as an emergency right away on 116 and Park. We found signage backwards on 125th Street and Park, leading drivers to go up a one-way. All of that luckily was fixed. However, as all of you know, our community isn't just the major intersections. So now that the weather's getting nicer, we're going to be focusing on the smaller streets. And I'm sure DOT and their signaling are going to love the fact that I'm going to make them walk all the streets. But, it's what they're here for. So we're going to make them do it. And it's going to take some time because, it's a lot of streets. But that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Right. Questions? Yes, Christina. Will you also go ahead?
We've already incorporated, if you look at some major intersections, we weren't able to incorporate something that public safety administration were working on, which is a delayed traffic light. If we stop any major intersection, let's say 115 and 3rd, you'll notice that all the lights in red at the same time, giving pedestrians about 6 to 8 seconds of leeway, which means they are more than halfway crossing. And then we're going to hopefully be able to do that along the way. This allows pedestrians, and in cities such as Tokyo, pedestrians have their own phase across. You know, that way there is no, as you know, like once people start turning and pedestrians are there, it's an issue. Like this lane of people that want to turn are in a rush, and then people are walking slowly, that's what accidents tend to happen. Which is why we ask DOT to implement that in our community, and so far it's been very successful. Not in this walkthrough. And this walkthrough is more accessibility, timing phases. For that, I mean, if you have a particular spot where you have that request, you can talk to me, and then we can request it. But they do that, I think what they do is, almost like council, they have to deal with it for a certain period of time to get, you know, an average of what the sound is like. I don't think it took like a few months. But we can talk about it.
Great. Sage.
They just on my committee is cheating. So the answer
Joe O'Donnell and Hector Santana, as soon as it starts to warm up consistently, then we're gonna take a walk. Absolutely. So yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, been invited to do a walk, but it's very cold down there in the winter. It'll be more spring, summer, and we can coordinate that with whoever wants to go.
Great. Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle.
Describe what they were going to do with the Metro North area trainway, said that they are willing to come and share what they're doing to any group, or you could come to their office and they will share what they're doing, so that it is as open as possible and as clear as possible to as many people as possible, because they want you to know that this is our community. And we're not left out of the story of what's happening in our community.
Thank you. Good. We'll send a notice for those that want to participate. So thank you very much. And just want to applaud public safety and transportation getting out there onto the streets, doing the work. We just need, give them a round. We need more, everyone. If we all do that, it makes it easy work here when we come together. Next up, we're going to have economic development and culture. Anne-Marie, come on up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anne-Marie Vasquez. I vice chair the Economic Development and Culture Committee. Giselle wasn't able to be with us today, so she asked me to give you guys an update. On March 5th, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection released the city's newly expanded landmark Workers' Bill of Rights, a multilingual and comprehensive guide to rights in the workplace in New York City, which was created in collaboration with the Mayor's Office of Immigration Affairs and the New York City Commission on Human Rights. This new version of the Workers' Bill of Rights summarizes additional city laws and now also includes state and federal laws that protect workers and job applicants in New York City regardless of immigration status. The application portal for the Dining Out New York City is now open for businesses or community leaders that would like a deeper dive into the program and application process. The New York City Department of Transportation will be hosting a presentation March 27 at 11 a.m. and to register will be a Zoom link. We can provide you that information. As a reminder, setup guides are available online to help food services establishments understand the requirements for outdoor dining. Information and resources are available at the NewYorkCity.gov website. Type in dining out New York City. On March 1st, NYCHA announced a new project labor agreement with the Building and Construction Trades Council of Greater New York and the unions that BCTC represents, with a number of expanded and additional flexibilities to increase Section 3 opportunities, as well as opportunities for minority and women-owned business enterprises. In these negotiations, NYCHA focused primarily on improving access to jobs and good paying careers in the construction industry for NYCHA residents and other low-income New Yorkers through employment on NYCHA contracts. The complete PLA can be downloaded and there's a link, and we can provide that for you as well. We had 3 presentations. For our small business spotlight, we had New Level Juice located at 2244 First Avenue. He's open from 12 noon to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. He sells natural fruit and veggie juices and smoothies. Please remember to patronize our small businesses. We also received a status update and had a discussion of community concerns regarding the Julia de Burgos Cultural Center. Fernando Ortiz from the New York City EDC informed us that they will discuss the current status of the Julia de Burgos Center with DCLA and Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala at the end of the month. And we'll come back to our April meetings on the Julia de Burgos Center, as well as also provide us update on the current status of La Marqueta. We also received an informational presentation from Rolando Gonzalez from Legal Aid Society. They are launching a virtual clinic every Wednesday starting now in March to give us an update on the current proposed commercial and rent stabilization legislation as well. These virtual clinics, is to help those that are looking to start their own business, get information on how they can apply for grants for their businesses in the community. And last but not least, we also had Cindy Sanabria, who's a film director, who is working on a film. She's from East Harlem. She has shot some scenes in Taino Towers, in Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center, and also in the TAP projects. She wants to finish her film. The film is called Merciless Christmas. She just needs a few more dollars to complete the film. It's based on mental health. It's based about the people here in this community. And she is a woman of color who is a film director. If you guys can please support her, you can see the trailer in Indiegogo.com, and it's Merciless Christmas. And we can provide you this information if you could just look at our minutes in the Google Drive, and also you can call me or Giselle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Good. Yes, Michelle.
Any business has been coming from Second Avenue with their concerns about having to take down their shed, and
No. Thank you. Now we'll move along to executive committee meeting. We had our meeting last Thursday. I want to thank all of our members. We had a very thorough conversation. We had a presentation from Michelle Godot at the Center for Comprehensive Health Practice, CCHP, who's been here, I think it's close to 60 years. And they were looking to apply for a grant to expand their primary care, and that would extend it to diagnostic, mainly dealing with women and children, as well as endocrinology that would be dealing with diabetes. They gave a full presentation. I was at Jackie Robinson TA meeting at the time and arrived after they voted, but I did speak with Michelle, and she reassured me that their focus and where they've been seeing an expansion of services, but not necessarily the headcount, but utilizing services, has been in primary care, which they're glad to see that people are looking at how to take care of their entire self. So with that, the committee voted on that matter, and Jose Altamirano made it a motion to support the Center for Comprehensive Health Practices Community Health Center at the new location, which is right across the street. The motion was seconded by Rosa Diaz and approved with one present not voting, Nelson Rama. Next on the agenda, we dealt with a presentation from Randall's Island Park Alliance and with their petition requesting the removal of the HERC. Deborah Mayer and her colleagues were there. It was a very intense at times, but thorough conversation. But what we did find is that compared to the other community districts, we don't have a lot of data on where the migrant populations are being located in the city. And that's one of the areas we wanted information. We had a lot of debate back and forth, a lot of anecdotal information shared and concerns and what they were seeing. And for those that remember, this is where the one individual lost their life during an altercation. There have been other issues that were raised from community residents, and we needed information. After discussion, we've decided that I'll be sending a letter tomorrow requesting that information, that again, delineating, knowing out of all the community districts, what the numbers are, what the profiles, are they family, are they single adults, the makeup, the concentration. So we have a better idea of whether there's being an equitable distribution, and then we can revisit this conversation. But we also wanted to get a formal inquiry as to when and what their plan is for ratcheting things down. So we just want to get information as an executive committee before we take a hard position, which is what we should all be informed of. So that's one issue that we'll be dealing with. So that letter will be going out. Board member attendance, went through everyone's attendance. You'll be getting letters from Rosa and myself and Jess. Committee chair reports, went over the draft agenda, all of that. And then we ratified our committee chair responsibilities. It's not anything that has to be brought before this body, but these are the chair responsibilities going forward that will be the metrics we can hold chairs and vice chairs to account. The last new business item that we dealt with was a information that was shared. I think it was CB6 on their support of Alex Boris's assembly bill to deal with community boards and being virtual, to the point that was raised by Mark Bogursky earlier, and having quorum issues. They want to allow each independent board to make their own determination. Not that there's a flat rule you can or you cannot, but to give the autonomy to each individual community board or public body acting in similar stead. So that's what that bill is about. And as you heard from our borough president, he's supportive of this, so we can carry on with the business, whether it's committee or full board. So yeah, so that's the update. Are there any questions? Yes, Jewel. The draft is asking for a turnaround time. Yes. I'm still drafting that letter, and it's all my things to do to complete tomorrow. The reason there was concern from RIPA, Randall's Island Park Alliance, was because they extended it another 6 months to August. So it'll have been 1 year. So that's why they're concerned, because oftentimes, and much to the chagrin of Angel and Jess and myself, we reference the Department of Sanitation temporary garage. What often temporary becomes permanent, but again, we're not being given any information. That's all we want, to be able to have a conversation. We're being denied that conversation. So that is why it was brought to our attention. So rather than taking a position that's premature, we said, give us all the information. So to answer your question, it will have a request for a turnaround time. Whether they desire to abide is another question entirely. Okay. With that, if there are no other questions, we had a motion by Jose Altamirano to support CCHP's pursuit of a grant opportunity from MYS Department of Health statewide healthcare facility transformation programs, and then second by Rosa Diaz, and was approved. One present, not voting, Nilsa Rama. Yes. Okay, is there a second? I'll give that to Asher this time. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carried. And Nilsa, are you present not voting for this as well?
I am present not voting as well, as I am a board
Thank-
member of CCHP.
Thank you, Nilsa. Thank you, Sage. All right, with that, that concludes executive committee. Is there any new business? Any old business? Any announcements? Shameless Earth Day plug, April 19th. Be there. Yeah.
We're confirming the time with the museum, but most importantly, the schools, we need to make sure that it aligns with their early close for that day. So we'll be in touch with a flyer for everyone to share with the full information on what to expect, with including the time, but currently do not have that. Thank you for asking.
Great. No other announcements. All right, and we will do roll call.
Okay, last roll call. Please listen to your name. Jose Altamirano. Thank you. Stephanie Arroyo. April Autry. Thank you. Mark Burgowski. Thank you. Adem Rehab is excused. Kareem Kauser. Devan Cronshaw. Thank you. Kenneth Crouch. Thank you. Carlos Diaz. I'm just kidding. Okay, Rosa Diaz here. Jessica Elliott. Thank you. Judith Fabrado is excused. Brandon Gillespie. Thank you. David Giordano. You see? John Green, it's not here. Gwanda Hopkins. Christina Johnson. Thank you. Jewel Jones. Thank you. Beverly McFarlane. Thank you.
Present.
Thank you. Giselle Malave is not here. Sage Mason. Thank you. Malik McCallum is not here. Jennifer Mayer, not. Oh, yes. Hi, how are you? Sorry. Jennifer Mayer.
He's excused.
Jessica Morris. Thank you. Nilsa Orama.
Here.
Thank you. Beverly Pavone is excused. Claudia Perez. Nicolas Reyes. Asha Rodriguez. Thank you. Eugene Rodriguez is excused. Don Sanders. Xavier Santiago is here.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Thank you. Russell Schuller. Thank you. Loretta So. Thank you. Vincent Torres. Okay. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Thank you. Jason Villanueva. Thank you. Candy Vives Vasquez. Michelle Wilshire Clements. Thank you. Jason Wu. No here. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you. 8:45.